Hi, my name is Renee Albers-Nelson. I'm the Cereal Grains Program Manager here at the Robert M. Kerr Food and Ag Products Center. And today we're going to discuss some items and some tasks or things you should think about as you're growing into a commercial kitchen. As you get to a commercial kitchen size, you need to think about purchasing bulk ingredients. Um, and on those bulk ingredients, there will be lot numbers of the when they were made, and they have the date. And that's important to keep those lot numbers for your ingredients, because if there's ever a recall on flour or maybe your eggs, and they tell you the lot number that the recall is, then you could go back to your records and you know that you're safe, or oh my gosh, I used that recalled ingredient. Now I need to go find my product. And so maybe that's also important for you, as you have a production date for your products that you make that you can track. So that's the first thing for your ingredients. And then as a commercial kitchen, you should start thinking about doing your recipes in weight instead of volumes, instead of cups and teaspoons. Weigh things out. It's far more accurate. You'll get a far more consistent product. And then you can also predict your pricing and how much ingredients you need to purchase if you have everything in weights. One thing that's very important in industry is having your recipe all out and you can check off the ingredients you use. Lots of big companies actually do that. There is a printed out recipe, you know the ingredients by weight, and you have to check and initial that ingredient went in. That's because everyone gets sidetracked, you get interrupted, you don't know what you put in the bowl, and how can you tell sometimes? And so that's something you should think about with growing into a commercial kitchen. And then you might have different mixers, maybe bigger mixers, maybe bigger proofing cabinets, and tray racks. Tray racks that are rollable into ovens is maybe possible for you or not. Covering tray racks so that dust or germs don't blow in on your product that's proofing or perhaps already out of the oven. There's just lots of things you can think about food safety as you grow into a commercial kitchen. As you begin to design and plan out your commercial kitchen, be sure to write out everything, your product flow, the space you need to have product cool away from where you're mixing so that you don't have cross-contamination from raw to your baked good. Design out your product flow and make sure you have enough room and that you can get all of your workstations in the flow pattern from raw to baked to cooled and to packaged. Because you always need to have your product cool before you package it. As you plan out space in your commercial kitchen, you might put in room for large bulk containers. They come in handy for your 50-pound bags of flour, or you can get something like this. The lids fit tight. You can label them, and it would just be really organized and functional. As you go to a commercial kitchen size, you may need to double, triple, quadruple your normal recipe. And sometimes it doesn't always work perfectly when you do that. So you may have to tweak your recipes a little. Just expect to do that. Make sure you get a balance that can convert your grams to pounds to kilograms or ounces. They're an investment, but they're handy, and make sure that you know the maximum amount that your balance can hold. Like this one, the maximum is 8.1 kilograms. So make sure you invest in a balance that can do your minimum and maximum. It's important when you're doing your cups of flour to scoop it into the cup. And so I'm going to scoop my flour into the cup and then pour it into my tared bowl to get the weight of flour. And just if you've never used a balance before, you should always zero the balance out, put your pan or your vessel you're weighing into, and then tare it. There should be a button that says tare, and that's eliminating the weight of your bowl or your vessel that you're weighing into. So I need 6 cups of flour. We're going to get the weight of that. I'm going to mark that I've put it in because I always lose track. Okay, that's 6. And so our 6 cups of flour weigh 916.86 grams. And so now I know that I can quickly just weigh out 916.86 grams. You might want to round it up to 917, and that's perfectly fine. You might want to invest in an electronic or battery thermometer. They are, because now you have to prove that your product was baked to a good temperature. You have to prove your oven is at the right temperature. You have to prove that your refrigerator is at the right temperature. And so investing in some data recorders or nice thermocouple pins or something you can put in your refrigerator or oven to know that it's at the correct temperature is really good investment. If you're not doing cookies, but if you're doing like breads, pizzas, a spiral mixer is really a handy way to mix. A spiral mixer, the dough hook stays fixed and the bowl turns. And so it really mixes efficiently, and you also do not get as hot of a dough when it's mixing, because not all of the dough is working at the same time. Only part of it is as the bowl moves it towards the hook. If your dough stays cooler, then it's not proofing as quickly in the mixing bowl. It's proofing in the cabinet, and you'll get a longer proof and you'll get more flavors. If you find yourself needing to reach into the bowl to maybe scrape the bowl, always be sure to practice lockout, tag out, and unplug it, because what if this were to fall and your arm is inside? So that's just always something to think about. It's important in the bakery to not have your rings on or even fingernail polish, because it could flake off into your product when you're working with the dough. It's always good just to have clean, washed hands. As production grows, proofing shifts from individual pan control to full rack capacity. Cabinet size matters, not just for volume, but for consistency and workflow. If you're going to be really into breads and doing a lot of proofing, you might consider a proofing cabinet where you can roll a rack in and pull it out. Comes in very handy and for large quantities of production. As you grow into a commercial kitchen, the oven size will allow you to bake more products than you would like in your household oven. This is a really nice size. It holds, I think, 10 or 12 baking trays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 10. You can space them out. It rotates and you get good heat transfer. You can also inject steam if you're doing some artisan breads or want some shiny dinner rolls. And so this is a nice oven size to consider as you grow and improve. When moving into commercial baking, the first question is the product. As demand grows, ovens shift from batch baking to full rack capacity. Before investing, operators need to think beyond oven size alone. Product type, daily volume, and available space all shape the right choice. Door swing, airflow, and rack movement affect workflow and consistency. Choosing the right oven helps small operations scale without outgrowing their facility. As you're growing and moving into your commercial kitchen, you might not be aware that they make racks. You can get a taller rack. You can even get a half rack. You can get covers to put over them. These are really nice to stage maybe your cookies going into the oven and to pull your baking trays to cool on a large rack or a short rack, and then you can cover them while they're cooling. You don't have to worry about things cross-contaminating in or cooling and protecting until you get them packaged. These were items and topics to think about in your new endeavor, and I wish you the best of luck.